We're in a very unique position as therapists because we're at the interface of someone's personal life and how that life is embedded in a larger culture, including the ecosystem we live in. So I want to just have this slide up here just for us to soak it in. Because for me, I can tell you as a father of 2 children who are now in their 20s, it's extremely sad to read the newspaper and to think about what their lives are going to be like. Maybe in all of us in this room, our life, not some of us, because my daughter's best friend is here in the room, so same age, but for the older generation that we are, we've lived on a planet that's been kind of holding together. Diane's work to look at the things that are going that are negative and positive is so important. I can tell you emotionally for me, it's really, really hard to read. And I'm on some climate change groups, activist groups, policymakers and stuff. And they are some of the most depressing conferences I've ever been to. And so I want to address the emotion for us as therapists or as just parents on the planet, that these aren't just mild emotions. I know Mary Pfeiffer's book, The Green Boat, addresses this, and when she's addressed us here and in other settings, it's been a powerful thing to look at that from the inside out. But I know for me personally, the biggest challenge is that I either go chaotic and I just feel overwhelmed with distress, or I go rigid and I say, I don't want to know about any of that. Is that familiar for you? So those are examples of how we're not integrated. We don't remain integrated. So how do we actually, starting with ourselves as therapists, maintain some kind of integrated balance in the face of knowledge? So one time at the Garrison Institute, there was a meeting on climate, brain, and behavior, and they asked me to give the opening keynote address. And I said, you're out of your mind. I don't know anything about climate change. They said, well, we really need you to come. I said, I don't know why. So I showed up, and I said, what do you expect me to say? I was about to go up to the keynote address, and they said, just do your thing. I said, what do you mean do my thing? I said, what have you been doing for climate change? And they said, well, here's what we've been doing. Let us give you the lowdown. We've tried to inform people, and it failed. We tried to scare them, like with inconvenient truth, and there have been Academy Awards and Nobel Prizes, and things have just gotten actually worse in terms of people doing stuff. And I said, you mean you've scared them, it didn't work, and you informed them, it didn't work, and now you're asking me what to do? And they said, yeah. I said, okay. Then I guess as a therapist, what you want to do is transform people. And they go, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. Let's see what comes up in the keynote. So I gave this keynote address, which you can actually watch at the garrisoninstitute.org website. And basically what I said was, you got to go from an identity of only me to also we. The shorter way of saying that is me to we. And it became the theme for the entire climate change conference and continues to be the theme. And so what I want to suggest to you is that we as therapists actually are in an incredibly important, and not to pressure us, but important position to actually help with internal transformation. That's what we do, right? That's what we do. And so Diane's part of this presentation, our talk is called Healing and Hope in the Modern World, and cultivating that is about what we do. So how do we do it? What I want to address in these few minutes is one way of transforming identity so that, in fact, all of the incredibly positive things Diane has said to us can actually come true. So we take this model of integration, we take a view of the mind, which fortunately now we have in the field of mental health, that we have a definition of the mind that we've been playing with, a working definition that says that the mind is a self-organizing, let me just show you so you can see where this comes from, that the mind is viewed as a self-organizing emergent property or process that regulates energy and information flow. We are psychotherapists. We are mental health professionals. We now have a definition of the mind beyond just consciousness, beyond subjective experience. This is a third aspect of the mind. And with this definition, we can realize that this embodied process is also relational. So it tells us the mind is happening not just in the head, but the whole body. And this energy and information is not limited to the skull, it's in the whole body, it's not even limited to the skin. The way we relate to each other and to the planet is our job as psychotherapists to attend to that. So this isn't just like, oh, this is just peripheral stuff. This is really, really important stuff about the mind. And now we're going to go inward and say, well, okay, what do I do as a therapist, Dan? What does that help? It helps this way. The mind is actually a regulatory process. We can teach people literally as educators in sessions to monitor with more stability energy and information flow happening within and between. And when they can do that with more stability, they see with more detail, focus, and depth. And then you say, okay, who cares? Now they're going to be more depressed because they're seeing more clearly. No, because now they can modulate or modify this energy and information flow toward integration so they can experience harmony, whatever they're facing as the planet changes in the Anthropocene era. We are going to be the stewards of mental well-being as we face the new challenges that are going to happen on this planet.